America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents.
This episode of Invent America TV is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King's Broadcasting Network and has been bringing to you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998. This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
Welcome. That's right. This is the Cajun contract of Michael King, along with my sidekick, the inventor lady herself, Rita Crompton. This is the Invent America show because, like Rita says, America invents. We want to welcome all of you that's tuning in from Home Talk USA radio program. It's a continuation of Home Talk. But don't forget, on the third hour, we're going to have Rita and myself will be hosting the Made in America show also. So, hey, it goes from Home Talk to Invent America to Made in America. Highlight, we got America cornered. We cornered the America market, right, Rita?
Absolutely. Everything from the do-it-yourself in the first hour to inventing it in the next hour and making it right here at home in the third hour. And I think it's just a wonderful flow of everything we've got.
Along with inspiration.
But Rita, let me ask you this now. What is, I love talking to you right now because each week you come up with a different topic, you know. So what's on your mind this week? What is the topic of conversation for all the inventors out there right now?
Well, as I go through the week, because, there's a new show always coming up, and I'm talking to these inventors who call me and say, okay, tell me about this. And what, inspires me then for my next topic is a conversation that I had with somebody out there who called me. And one of the things that kind of peaked this week was how people need help at different times. And everybody brings a skill set with them, whether they're inventing something because they were, on a golf course, or inventing something because it was in their workplace, and, or floating across the ocean like they did back in the 14 and 1500s. If you couldn't fix the boat, it sank. And so people get to a point where, their inspiration needs a little help. Most of the time, the first help they need is, a patent attorney, but different strokes for different folks. And they say, okay, help me now. Help me now. And for a lot of them, it's going to be the prototype. Some it's going to be, marketing. And so that's what always gets me going is, when they say, help me now.
Well, the thing is, you don't know which stage they come in at. Now, they should start from the beginning, right? That we talked about the thought, the idea, putting it on a piece of paper, so on and so forth. But you never know which stage that they come in at, or where they at in their stage. We don't know that till we lay it out because, we both experience where a lot of inventors just put the cart instead of the horse, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And you're exactly right. They'll come and say, I've got an idea. What do I do? Or one of the guys says, yeah, I've got several patents on this product and I have no idea what to do with it now. And so I had to tell him, it's like, the ones that do the best have got a plan in motion before the patent ever issues. And so, being able to advise them on next steps, give them access to different service providers, and be able to say, all right, let's see if we can move it this way. And got a really great product out there that should be changing people's lives. And it's kind of stalled even with the licensee, they're not moving it. So, different problems, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, you have to do a lot of research before you take it to the next level because research and developing existing patents, sometimes it's just going down to your local big box store and go to the shelf that is related to your technology, if they even have that. But it's good just to start and walk the aisles and see, because, we talked about the story, but, it's not necessarily trying to invent something that's new, which is great, but you can also have something that's already there and improve it. How many times you see
Absolutely.
that?
Oh, Lordy. Yeah.
You can add on to the technology.
Absolutely. It's
You know?
the example I like is the one where, a flashlight is a light coming out of the end of the stick.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there are, 20 or 30 of them on a store shelf with different sizes and different things that are still patent pending.
yeah,
But holy cow, the guy that invented the one that wraps around a pole, so now
yeah.
you don't have to hold the flashlight in your mouth to use both hands. It's still a light coming out of the end of the stick, for
That's right.
goodness sakes. But
Yeah,
now that's a game changer. That is an industry game changer. And, we see a lot of those where it's not brand new,
yeah,
it's an improvement. And honestly, it is easier to get something that is an improvement on a store shelf or selling in the marketplace because people already understand the problem. When you have to pay to teach a person that you solved a problem they didn't know they had,
yeah,
you got to spend a lot of money on marketing,
yeah.
because in
Well,
the beginning people did not know that an apple was something you play with instead of something that you eat. Apple paid a lot of money to teach you it's something you play with.
yeah. And but we talked about this in the past. The most common story that I hear, and I know you hear, is when we ask, developers and entrepreneurs and people that vet these products, tell them the story, how it was developed, or what gave you the idea. And I want to say 75% of the stories. I just went down to the box store, store, and I was looking for this type of whatever, and I realized it don't exist. They don't even know what that is. Well, I need this to do this, and man, really, we hear this story all the time.
Oh yeah. I knew an inventor in Denver. He was an elderly gentleman, but he had been inventing for years, retired engineer, and he and his son would go down to the Ace Hardware and they would stand around and watch the tools that got thrown into the wastebasket. And
Yeah,
they would take it home with them and then just design something new that worked better and didn't have the breakage. And so
yeah.
that was their inspiration, was looking and seeing what was being tossed out and what people were complaining about.
Well, as technology really gets bad, um, no, I want to back that up. Not the technology getting bad. The materials for the technologies are really where it used to be something maybe made out of metal, it's made out of plastic, or cheapen the material, the invention itself by cheaping the quality of of assembling it. That's a common failure that I see all the time. Plastic, or it's
Oh,
just not the technology; it's the materials themselves.
yeah, things
Yeah,
used to be designed to last for decades, and now they're designed to fail
yeah,
within a certain amount of time. And I see that a lot as well. So, as we're looking at then, improving on
yeah,
manufacturing, I know that one of the gentlemen that brought everything back to the States, it was because the failure rate was so high.
yeah.
And he needed to be able to, have a higher success rate on the product that he was selling. And so he brought everything back to America so he could stand there and watch it being made.
Well, Rita, we got a great show planned, jam packed with all sorts of stories. I can't wait, but we just hope everybody stays with us, because they're gonna, we're really gonna educate them. We're gonna guide them. We're gonna advise them on their next home improvement project. All the new technologies, and sometimes this technology is not even available yet. There again, we don't know the stage that it's in, but that's what I love about the show. And but we have some great new sponsors, some great new affiliates coming in right now, and I know you're going to have Pavel's, Mark, and Kevin's all waiting in the green room, I call it, and but we're going to have a great time. So don't go nowhere. Right here, we're going to take a short break. Along with Rita Crompton, the Inventor Lady, I'm the Cajun contractor Michael King. This is the Invent America Show. Y'all come back now. You hear? Yeah.
This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
Hey, welcome back to the Invent America Show. I'm the Cajun contractor Michael King, and my co-host, my partner in crime, the Inventor Lady herself, Rita Crompton, right here on the King's Broadcasting Network.
So my first guest is Pavel Pimentel, right? Pavel?
Yes.
Okay,
Pavel, yes.
Pavel.
That's all
All
right.
right. And you know, you have got this cool new product. All right. You've had, two little kids. You watch them waste, bars of soap and everything. I don't know anyone that has, it's like, can't use it a few more times here. It's getting so small. But you created a solution on how to use those. And I've watched your video a couple times. It's really cool the way you take a used piece of soap that would be thrown out by anybody else and you turn it into a liquid.
Yes, I do. Well, I teach the people to do
Well,
with
there
my
you go. There
product.
you go. All right.
Yeah.
So tell everybody what is it that you've got that and basically a verbal vision of what
Right.
you have invented.
Well, to so many of the bar soap users that I've reached out to ever since I've gotten my product, the first batch of my product, and I go out to try to introduce it. So many, as soon as the person acknowledges they're a bar soap user, they also acknowledge the problem of when the bars get small. I've had people say, I got pieces in my shower right now. Yeah, I throw them out. I put them under the sink. So I've heard so many stories. So what the bottle does is just gives you a very simple solution of you could put the pieces of soap in the bottle, add water, and it just turns into a liquid soap that you could
Yes.
have on your sink and wash your hands. Women that wash certain undergarments. I've noticed now with a R&D that I did on Zote soap that have some flakes because of somebody I met on LinkedIn that said they're like people that wash their baby's clothes and they want to wash them with like these pure soaps. So then it just gives you the ability to put the flakes in, add water, and it turns into liquid soap.
Excellent.
Simple.
Well, the product is called Soap Boss, and
Yeah,
the website is soapboss.net. So if you
yeah.
want to go and be able to see the product and look at some videos on how it works, it is very cool. So, Pavel, when did you decide that you needed some help? What were your first phases that you went through where you said, you know what, I can't do this by myself?
Um, when I noticed I'm not the marketing slash advertising slash influencing person. So, you just then start to then say, oh man, if I could get that help, where could it be, soon after, because people that have these thousands of followers and, I just feel that not only do we always need help, I brought it to a certain point, uh, and even with that, it was a little difficult, but now it's the help also of is there, angel investors or product developers or just somebody that has that thing that I don't have. I was able to invent it and get it to where I got it. And then you always need help.
Well, I think that the smartest step a person takes is when they say, okay, I cannot do this by myself anymore, and say, how do I get the help? It's like when somebody tells me they filed their own patent. It's like, there's a reason that guys and people went to school for years and paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the education. You cannot do it on a Saturday morning at a Chamber of Commerce self-help session on how to file your own patent. It makes me
Exactly.
crazy. So, when you get to the point then on marketing, and marketing is, we call it mount marketing because that
Mhm.
tends to be the hardest part for inventors to get through. And we look at the different things that can be done. It's certainly easier now when you don't have to pay for a TV commercial, but it's still challenging. So what have you done? I mean, you put up a website, you've got inventory.
Yes, I have some inventory. I think I've heard the terminology turnaround, where because of where I have the mold and the place that has helped me with the, come up with making the part inside. There's
Mm-hmm.
a part, there's an agitator that goes inside the box that helps, agitate the soap. And so they also help me get the bottles and the tops, and they're like a little one-stop shop for me. And I think I can get more bottles, relatively quick if the finances were there.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's good to know. So anybody that wants to be able to purchase one, you've got inventory. They can go and get it from
Yes,
the website. And
yes.
you're looking then for ways to move the product. And that is always, that's a good thing. so that when you get to that point for inventors, that you've got the product ready to go, you're ready to sell,
Yes.
and then it's just getting the word out there and finding different places that can help you or that can carry your product.
Yes, yes. Or
And
license. I'm hearing a lot of licensing. If that would ever fall down and land, and I can do something, I don't understand any of that either, but you hear it a lot. So,
well, that is something that I can have a conversation with you, because as a licensing agent, which is what I actually get paid to do,
mm,
is a wonderful thing. And I don't charge anything up front. I get paid when you get paid. So for a
oh,
lot of my clients, that is like, let's go that route because
yeah,
somebody else then is going to make it, sell it, and they send you a check. As opposed
yes,
to the reverse, where you've got to order it made, they dump it on your driveway and send you
mhm,
an invoice.
yes, yes.
And it was funny because today I was paying out the royalty checks of the royalties that came in to all of my vendors who have licensed it. Today is the day. And
Wow.
they always appreciate that day when money starts going the other direction. Um,
Yes.
so,
And I think I saw that on your bio, but again, we haven't had too much time to talk. But I don't understand any of that. So to be blessed to meet somebody like you that does it and understands it, and has those channels and contacts, and just how do you not sit down and want to be a part of that?
well, I am happy to have you as part of that. I think you've got a great product, and there's certainly been that issue with those wasted bars. So you and I are going to talk later this week and see if we can't get you teed up to take some of those next steps. And everybody, stick with us because we are going to be back with Mark. And I will introduce him after we get back on. But he's got a golf product that is very cool, and he also has product ready to go. So you know what? It's time to do that Christmas shopping. So if you're out there looking for products, pick an Inventors product. Go to their website and find out what's new, because that's what everybody wants in their Christmas stocking. Stick with us, everybody. We will be right back for another segment of Invent America.
If you're an inventor or you know an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. inventorsroundtable.org.
And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. We love to solve the problems that we've had through the generations, and you never know when that next cool product that comes on the market is one you hear about on Invent America. And my guest for this hour is Mark Chantel. He is the inventor of the pickup tee. Mark, thanks for being with us this afternoon, and tell everybody, what is the pickup tee? What makes it better, different?
Well, what I did was 15 years ago, I was playing golf with a foursome of guys, and one of the guys that we were playing with, his dad owned the golf course, and halfway through the round, he's complaining up a storm that he can't find any kids in the neighborhood to pick up the broken tees on the tee boxes. So I'm thinking, worldwide, this is an issue. So I go into work the next day. I had a 9-inch lathe that was perfect for the job. I started making golf tees out of glass-filled Delrin, a number of different materials. And then when I realized when I was using the synthetic materials, I had to lighten it up. So I made it hollow. It's the only hollow tee that I know of. So what I did was I gave it an annular linear edge ball seat. And what that did was that enabled the tee to lean 17 degrees forward. And from there, I added a few things that go into the bore, like we engineered a pin to go into the board to make it retrievable by putting the strongest, smallest neomagnet in the United States in the air hole of the grip of the driver. Now, before all this happened, we ended up going to getting it pretty much tested in England, and we put it on a robot. And at that point, we're seeing data that golf's never witnessed. What's happening is the tee is being kicked out from under the ball before the ball bulges down. It forces the ball up the face, And there's a number of folks that have gotten behind me that have taught Arnold Palmer, taught everybody there is in golf. And these people came to me on LinkedIn and they said, you know something, nothing else in golf is doing what your product's doing. So Dr. Jerry Elwell, he got behind me. And at that point, he changed everything because he had credibility. He was a PhD. He studied golf balls for 20 years. And he came to me and said, nothing is doing what I'm seeing with your product. So he got behind me 3 years ago. And then I figured, well, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I ended up engineering a pin that went into the bore of the tee. And it's a tiny little thing. It'll never come out. And at that point, when you get done your swing, you usually look at the ball flying and then you turn your wrist and you slide, you let the club go down to the ground and pick up the tee for you. And it's just been huge as far as people, the interest. Distance isn't no longer a thing for a lot of people that don't want to bend over. My son told me, my son's a doctor, God love him. And he says, Dad, he says, distance isn't your thing no more. It's retrievability. And I says, David, I says, the very first time I ever thought of this, I wanted to make the ball go further. So we gave it an annular linear edge ball seat, and Titleist changed the surface of the golf ball 15 years ago. They made the dimples all different sizes. What that did was it made the ball a non-uniform surface. And when it sat on a regular tee, the points of contact became non-uniform. Therefore, it wobbled. That's why I got a utility patent. So now we're going back at the patent office, and we're going for another utility patent based on the change of the bore of the tee and the pin and so forth. But it's been a thing where the patent office refused me the first 11 months into what we filed, and they said my idea would have been obvious, and they wanted to see something new and unexpected. So right at that time, everything happens for a reason. A buddy of mine's moving into his brand new house, and my lawyer said to me, he says, Mark, go read these pages why they said no. So I read all of what they said. 2 days later, I'm at a friend of mine's house. I'm helping him move into a brand new house. I'm moving his golf bag into the house. I bang it up against the foundation where the door wasn't even on the foundation yet. All the balls fell out. So I go down and I pick up all the balls and I look at this one ball and I said, can I have this? And he says, yeah, sure. I walk into my attorney's office 2 days later and I tossed the ball to him. He read why the patent office said no. He looks at that ball and he pauses and he says, points of contact. Our points of contact with any ball in golf become uniform in a circle. That enables to have the best points of contact to lean it forward. What's happening is it's kicking the tee out from under the ball. Nothing else is doing it. The data across the board hasn't been seen ever. So we're now changing everything.
Well, there's a lot in that to unwrap, but the big thing is you don't have to bend over to pick up your tea anymore.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
I'm still here for the distance.
Okay. I'm glad you clarified that because, it's called the pickup tee. And so we're getting, around, it's like picking it up. And, there you go.
Yes.
You're going for distance again, you sly old dog.
Well, there's some people that will use it for that. And other people, they might want to bend over and get exercise. But
absolutely. It's complicated and yet it's not. And you solve the problem and people are excited about it. You've had a lot of people weigh in on what you have done. When was it that you asked for help? When was it that you went out there and said, this is the problem, let's solve it?
God taught me patience through this thing. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
And I ended up going to a company in New Jersey that made me a 10-cavity mold in China. And at that point, after I got the prototypes back, we're looking at them, and they put the mold seam joint on the ball seat, which there's fray when there's flash, they call it, when pressure's in the plastic in the mold and it wants to come out wherever it can. They put the mold seam joint in the wrong place on the critical part of the product. So what ended up happening was 2 weeks later, that company in New Jersey send me a letter from their attorney saying they're filing Chapter 7. So now I'm out 5-7 grand, whatever it is. And at that point, I have to regroup. But what I did was it taught me a lesson. I ended up building a 32 cavity mold that'll make 120,000 teas in 24 hours.
Wow. Good for you. Good for you. All right. So what's next? Where are you going with this in 10 seconds or less? What's next?
Well, next is, we're just literally, the Scottish team, the Euro team, and the US team are pretty close to endorsing my product. They all used it in Arizona 2 weeks ago. They all love it.
Well,
and
good.
the golf tee lasts a good 5 years.
Wow. All right. So they're not buying a bag of these. So everybody, we're going to be right back with our industry expert. Mark, thanks so much. We will have you on again because you've got a great story to tell. But you let us know how we can help you and get the word out there about your product. Stick with us, everybody. We will be right back with our industry expert.
Hi, this is a training pull-up for little boys, and it's a great product to use. It makes it easy for the parent and the child when learning how to potty train. The coolest part about the product is that you don't have to take the child's pants all the way down every time that they need to use the restroom. You can just open this part here, and the child can tinkle through here, and it makes it easy for the parent and the child. It's a great product, and I cannot wait until it hits the market.
And thank you so much for being with us. Segment of Invent America. My industry expert for this segment is Kevin Cody. He's been working with inventors and new products and helping get them into the marketplace for a couple of decades. He is founder and CEO of FLI Products. Kevin, thanks so much for being with us.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So what do you do? How do you help inventors when they say, help me, help me?
Well, first thing I would say is, do you have a strategy? An awful lot of people obviously come to market and they have great ideas and they have wishes and they have thoughts about how people may be able to use their products. But stepping back and making sure that you have a strategy on how you're going to get there and all of the requirements of both retail and e-commerce marketing is super important to stand back and have that strategy in place, whether it's price, whether it's where you're going to sell it to, whether it's the product and packaging itself, or obviously how you're going to promote it. So all those things are critical. And I would say strategy, strategy, strategy.
Well, I think, a lot of inventors, when they come to me and they'll say, all right, kind of what's next? I've got the proof of concept prototypes made. I'm ready to manufacture. And it's like, did you think about the packaging? It's like, wait, what? And so when, I'll say, well, go down an aisle at, your Home Depot, Target, wherever, and look at other types of products. And what is the packaging like? Is it, a clamshell? Is it, just a piece of cardboard wrapped around it so they can touch it and feel it? What is it? And understand that that's going to add costs now to your manufacturing because, you got to be able to put it in something that's got a name on it. And a lot of times they didn't even think about it. They didn't factor that into the pricing. And sometimes the packaging can actually cost more than the product.
Yeah, it is true. And a large part of that, too, getting back to the strategy part, is what is the message that you want to communicate to the consumer that's buying your product, excuse me, whether it's an e-commerce direct to consumer or it is on the shelf at a major retailer. That package speaks volumes to who you are as a company and what the product does. And you have to be ready for that.
Well, you do. And I know that, when we go to ASD Market Week, a lot of folks, they will get the most important market research when they're there talking to people walking by. And, face to face, hands on. And a lot of the times, the buyers who are representing thousands of consumers, as opposed to one consumer, gives you a much better idea. And, years ago, we were doing a focus group for a new product. And, the guys was like, what color should we make this? So we asked on a basically a worksheet, a form, what color do you think it should be? And it was, the grays, blacks, browns, anything that wouldn't show the dirt.
Yeah.
And then they had a table set up. And when people walked out, they were allowed to take a free one. And almost every single person walked out of the door picking up yellow. Well, they filled out their forms, they put black, brown, and gray. And when they walked out the door, they picked up yellow. Understanding how the consumer sees your product is critical to getting them to pick it up. If you can't get them to pick it up, you're not going to sell any.
No, it's got to speak the message to exactly what you want them to know about it. Absolutely.
And, it's funny because on the e-commerce, you can put it in a Ziploc bag because they've already paid for it.
That is true, but that is true. But at the same time, how it delivers to the customer is really important, because it does tell the customer who you are and how you perceive your product to be a benefit to them.
Yes. And the other thing too is a lot of times packaging will impact the cost of shipping. So, it's going to, influence what they think of you and the product. It will influence then the cost of shipping. So that will up the pennies or whatever to you.
Yep.
But it's always really then about, the difference between the e-commerce impact and a store shelf impact, because there's no shipping there, but you've got to get them to pick it up and get to the checkout counter. So it could be two different packagings.
Absolutely. And you have to go to market with the expectation that you're probably developing two different packages, unless your strategy is to say, I'm just going to go direct to consumer and only have e-commerce. Then it's an easy decision.
Yeah. And some people do that. They say, I'm only going to do e-commerce. Then they'll go after licensing and let the licensee decide, what's going on. You actually do both, correct?
I do. And we advise our clients on both.
But it's the strategy that goes into getting a product successfully to market, and the price points on that are just really critical. And so we want to thank you for being with us today for this segment of Invent America. And anybody out there, if you know an inventor, you are an inventor, and you've got questions, please have them get in touch, because we really enjoy being able to help inventors either license their product, get it to marketplace, put them in touch with people like Kevin. You know what? That's what America consumers are all about. And don't forget, it's coming up on Christmas time. Go out there and buy those inventor products for Christmas. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.